哎呀，我们才刚做完总统川普在第一次内阁会议上表示说，未来他将与乌克兰总统泽连斯基呢，用开发稀土的方式来继续提供金援给乌克兰。但没想到呢，2月28号的川普与泽连斯基的会面呢，居然在媒体的采访以及答问当中呢，答着就变调了。然后呢，答着，居然两个人就谈得不欢也不能说而散因为这个事情还没结束。但是呢，很多人就解读这根本就已经谈崩了那为什么会双方好好的谈着，怎么吃着火锅唱着歌，居然天色就变了呢？
你带着老婆出了城，吃着火锅还唱着歌，突然就被绑匪劫了。
今天就是要带大家深入来看，为什么川普跟泽连斯基在这第一次的会面当中呢，最后是谈得不开心，甚至可以说某种程度上好像看似谈崩了。那是不是真的又谈崩呢？这个我们要从多方面的角度来切入，以及这过程当中的转变。所以我待会呢，伴随着大家一边看的同时呢，在关键点的部分跳出来跟大家做分析这一期呢是属于解析类的节目请大家多多包涵，我中间会有打岔的地方，我们就一起看吧 ，Let's go。
Thank you very much. It's an honor to have President Zelensky of Ukraine. And we've been working very hard, very close. So we've actually known each other for a long time. We've been dealing with each other for a long time and very well. We had a little negotiation spat, but that worked out great. I think for both countries, I think for the world, actually, beyond both countries. And we have something that is a very fair deal. And we look forward to getting in and digging and working and getting some of the rare earth. But it means we're going to be inside, and it's a big commitment from the United States, and we appreciate working with you very much. And we will continue to do that. We have had some very good discussions with Russia. I spoke with President Putin, and we're going to try and bring this to a close. It's something that you want and that he wants. We have to negotiate a deal. But we've started the confines of a deal, and I think something can happen. The big thing is the number of soldiers, mostly at this point, but soldiers being killed. They're losing thousands of soldiers. So on both sides, we're losing a lot of soldiers, and we want to see it stop. And we want to see the money get put to different kinds of use, like rebuilding. And we're going to be working very hard. But we've had a lot of very good conversations. I will say until we came along, the Biden administration didn't speak to Russia whatsoever. They didn't speak to anybody. They just allowed this to continue. And I will say that, I'll say in front of you, you've heard me say it 1,000 times, if I were president, this war would have never happened. We would have had a deal negotiated for you without having to go through what you've gone through. But your soldiers have been unbelievably brave. We've given them great equipment, but somebody has to use the equipment. They've been unbelievably brave, and we give them great credit. This was supposed to be over very quickly, and here we are 3 years later. So I give tremendous credit to your generals and your soldiers and yourself in the sense that it's been very hard fighting, very tough fighting, great fighters. And you have to be very proud of them from that standpoint. But now we want to get it over with. It's enough, right? We want to get it over with. So it's an honor to have you here. Thank you very much for coming. We're going to sign the agreement at the conference in the East Room in a little while, right after lunch. And we'll be having lunch together. We're also discussing some other things. And we appreciate everybody being here. It's somewhat of an exciting moment, but the really exciting moment is when they stop the shooting or we end up with a deal. And I think we're fairly close to getting that, and an honor to have you, and please, I'd like to say something.
一开始是由川普总统先发表那你会发现开始的时候他第一句话开宗明义就是先定调，就是说我们即将要对稀土做这个开发所以换句话说，这个是川普他认为最优先的。那你会想，那这个最优先的事情呢，为什么要一开始就把它提出来？其实这是一种心理暗示，就是说我一开始如果我就先把这事情讲出来了，那么你不可能一开始就反对我嘛所以他就是暗示 泽连斯基说，其实这就是我最关心的。接下来还要进行到这个所谓的签署协议啦，还要一起用午餐啦，这些事情呢，都就是照这个程序发展下来。他后面才开始提到，就是说，那我这个资金呢，提供给你的用途呢，有趣来咯。你仔细看，你会发现，川普并不是说这个资金提供给你呢，交由你随便去打仗，好，就是你爱继续跟这个俄罗斯怎么打呢，你就拿着资金怎么用，不是。他的意思是重建。川普他希望说，我现在看待你们2个人的这个战争，本质上就是需要直接做停火的。那你呢，就好好的把这个钱呢拿去做重建。那当然，他就后面做所谓的赞扬，因为你总是要对对方给予极大的肯定嘛。你不能意思就好像说你们过去这个战争白打了哈，然后都是士兵白牺牲了，没有，表示说其实是你们的士兵已经够优秀了，那你有很好的军队，但是呢，你们应该停火了。但是泽连斯基是不是这么想呢？
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. President. Thank you for invitation. And really, I hope that this first document, will be first step to real security guarantees for Ukraine, our people, our children. I really count on it. And of course, we count that America will not stop support. Really, for us, it's very important to support and to continue it. I want to discuss it with details further during our conversation, and of course the infrastructure or security guarantees, because for today I understand what Europe is ready to do, and of course I want to discuss with you what United States will be ready to do, and I really count on your strong position to stop Putin, and you said that enough with the war. I think that is very important, Ben, to say these words to Putin at the very beginning of war, because he is a killer and terrorist. But I hope that together we can stop him. But for us, it's very important to, to save our country, our values, our freedom and democracy, and of course, no compromises with the killer about our territories. But it will be later. And of course, what I wanted, we spoke about it by phone with you about the drones production. We have very good drones production. I think the best one in the world for today because of the war. Yes, and of course we need very much the air defense. You have the best air defense in the world, and really you helped us under attacks of Russians, and I want to speak how we can exchange the licenses. We're open to share the licenses of all our drones with you, of course with the United States, and we need licenses for quick production of air defense. Even after the war, we need our nation to be calm, that we are secure, so that's why we need this air shield. And of course, about this, I want to speak about the contingents. I think that France and UK already spoke to you, and we know that Europe is ready, but without the United States, they will not be ready to be as strong as we need. And the last point, last not least, about exchange, about our people and children. And you know that this crazy Russian, that they stolen 20,000 of children, Ukrainian children. They changed their names, they changed their families, relatives, and now they're in Russia. We want to bring them back, and really it's a big dream, task and goal for me, and our warriors. By the way, Mr. President, we released more than 4,000 warriors from Russian prison, but there are thousands more in the prison. I wanted to share with you some images, how it's. Just can I now?
Yeah, please.
1 minute. I just you to understand in what circumstances, in what situation they are, and what the attitude of Russia to our prisoners. That guys, just you before and after, and you see before and after, just you to understand. Now thousands of such guys, ladies and men, there. And that, so they don't eat, they beat them, and they do a lot of bad things. So out of, even during the war, there are rules. Everybody knows there are rules during the war. So these guys, they don't have any rules. You see that 50, 60 kilograms left, and a lot of such things. And I didn't want to show you what the changes with images of children, because I will share with you. I mean, it's looking tragic.
Yep. That's tough stuff.
Yeah, I wanted very much to give you, and you see it.
Yeah.
This is pastor, by the way. They stolen pastors because it's not Russian church. They stolen pastors and moved pastors to the prison. We, at the end of last year, we brought 3 pastors, and we could exchange them. And this is pastor, you see.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah. So I mean, this I wanted to show you, and this. So thank you very much.
We want to get that ended, right?
Yeah. Of course, we
And
will.
I think we will. And
We have to, of course.
do you have any questions, please?
你会发现哈，泽连斯基他的立场是什么？他一开始其实讲的就是说，没有错哈，这个钱哈，我们都必须要哈用于好。他多做了一个补充，就是重建跟安全啊。大家要听出来，这个呢是很特别的一个反应哈，一个回答。换句话说呢，他表达出的态度就是说，我知道欧洲准备做什么，但是呢，我要跟伟大的总统先生呢，也就是川普呢，来讨论美国要准备做什么。在这里面，他一共其实表达出了多种的含义。第一个就是说，这个安全本身它仍然是战争，所以呢，泽连斯基并没有想要让川普把这个所谓资金的使用方式呢给缩死。那他仍然其实想要拉回来，就是我们仍然关心的是这个战争如何的确保乌克兰不会被俄罗斯给侵占。那他提到了另外一个，就是他的盟友，也就是欧洲这边呢，都是支持他的，所以呢，他知道欧洲要怎么样去援助他们。其实言下之意就是，也希望美国呢站在他们这一边，跟欧洲一样一起来帮助他们。这个才是泽连斯基的真正的一个用意。那我认为以一个小国来讲，其实泽连斯基讲这个话已经算是相当的高明了，因为某种程度上你就是要拉高自己的一个身价嘛，所以他表示就是我这边是有欧洲的支持。那再来他就是打温情牌给川普看。你有没有发现到他连这个照片的安排都是很巧妙的，特别是他用了好几张都是他说到这些人是牧师而且他也特别强调说这不是俄罗斯教会不是东正教的教会这就表示什么？现在全世界都知道，川普是以基督教为他的个人的宗教信仰的背景下呢，他希望用牧师的这个被俘虏者呢来打动川普但是呢，这个时候我们其实已经会发现到，双方其实已经有一些角度上的不同了。
Thank you, Mr. President. How much money is the U.S. going to put into the fund that is being created today, and how does this provide long-term security for Ukraine?
Well, we don't know exactly how much because we're going to be putting some money in a fund that we're going to get from the raw earth that we're going to be taking and sharing in terms of revenue. So it's going to be a lot of money will be made from the sale and from the use of raw earth. And as you know, our country doesn't have much raw earth. We have a lot of oil and gas, but we don't have a lot of the raw earth. And what we do have is protected by the environmentalists, but that can be unprotected, but still it's not very much. They have among the best in the world in terms of raw earth. So we're going to be using that, using it for all of the things we do, including AI and including weapons and the military, and it's really going to very much satisfy our needs. So it's something that just worked out really well. We have a lot of oil and we have a lot of gas, we have a lot, but we don't have raw earth. So this has just about every component of the raw earth that we need for computers, for all of the things we do. This puts us in great shape.
And the long-term security for Ukraine, how does this provide?
I think they're going to have great luck. I think once we make the agreement, that's going to be 95% of it. They're not going to go back to fighting. I've spoken with President Putin, and I feel very strong. I've known him for a long time, and I feel very strongly that they're very serious about it, and we'll make a deal. And when the deal is made, I don't think we talk about security. Everyone's talking about the other day. All they talked about was security. I said, let me make the deal first. I have to make the deal first. I don't worry about security right now. We have to have a deal because right now, last week, 2,000 soldiers died on both sides. 2,000, and they're losing 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 a week. So as we sit here and we talk, people are getting shot and dying on the battlefield. And, you know, they're not American soldiers, but they're Russian soldiers and they're Ukrainian soldiers, and we want to be able to stop it. And we want to be able also to spend money on other things. We don't want to, this is a tremendous amount of money. And what the Biden administration did was terrible. They were giving money, but he had no security on the money. Europe, as you know, gave much less money, but they had security. It was in the form of a loan. they get their money back, and we didn't. And now, at least we're protected because the American taxpayer has to be protected too. But this is an incredible agreement for Ukraine because we have a big investment in their country now, and what they have, very few people have. And we're able to really go forward with very, very high-tech things and many other things, including weaponry that we're going to use in many locations, but that we need for our country. This allows us to do that.
其实川普他又在重申一件事情，就是说他关心的是他们这个稀土开发的协议是否能完成。那他并不是那么的在意，就是所谓的安全上的问题。那这个讲法呢，我认为川普他是拿定一个心态，就是说我不会再像过去拜登执政时期那样无条件的金援你。你泽连斯基呢，接下来你就是应该要关注我美国关注的这个稀土的需求。川普的用意是想要让泽连斯基知道，就是你必须关心我觉得很重要的事情。我现在觉得很重要的事情，对不起，已经不是你所认为的无条件的金援了。这个其实是有一点点软性的威胁，但是呢，某种角度上来讲，这个可能会在泽连斯基听起来的解读也变成就是说，如果你太过去强调稀土的稀有性跟重要化，那是不是就变成泽连斯基也会认为，那也是你美国有赖于我呢？这个是有可能的风险。但是川普他就表示说我跟普丁这个很熟啦我都跟他通过话了所以呢，我们有信心只要你跟我达成这个稀土开采协议，那么俄乌战争这边就有望可以结束。川普其实一直也在强调一个，就是说每天你们这战场上都在死这个上千名的士兵。川普也一直在不断的委婉的暗示提醒泽连斯基，就是其实你应该要担心的是你国家每天战场上死亡的情况嘛，对吧？好，那所以希望泽连斯基能够把停火协议这件事情视为是优先，而美国有信心在停火上面是做得到的。川普想要透过这一次与泽连斯基会面，一次的扭转了拜登他过去的一个路线，也就是川普要重新定调美国的主轴只有关心停火，而停火的协助必须要透过双方的开采稀土这样子的一个合作模式，我才愿意介入帮忙，否则的话无法跟你保证什么。OK。
Will you continue?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Can I?
Military aid.
Yes, go ahead, please.
If I can just, yes. In the document, there is one of the very important points. If we speak about business and investment, we never had LNG terminals in Ukraine. This document will open. I mean, the next documents, but anyway, here we
President Zelensky, do you feel like the U.S. is on your side? That the President Trump is on your side at this moment?
What do you think?
He wants to know, do you think that, sort of a stupid question. I guess we wouldn't be here if I wasn't. But
I think that the United States on our side from the very beginning of occupation, and I think that President Trump on our side, and of course, I'm sure that the United States President will not stop support. This is crucial for us. It's important for us. Yes. And Putin, the president, speaks about the people and the soldiers which are dying, but they came to our territory, they came to our land. They began this war, and they have to stop. And I think this is the question, was really the most important question. Can President Trump, I hope yes, with some other allies, to stop Putin, withdraw these enemies, our enemy, withdraw these troops from our land? And I think that you asked about the history. I think that if President, or when, he will stop Putin, if President Trump will bring peace to our country, I think he will be on this wall.
We've had very, very good talks.
What about military aid to Ukraine?
President Zelensky just said that there'll be no compromises with Vladimir Putin. I just wanted to ask both of you. Firstly, are there compromises that you think that President Zelensky is going to have to make? And President Zelensky, is there anything that you think that you may be able to offer or bring to the table? For example, elections. Thank you.
I think you're going to have to always make compromises. You can't do any deals without compromises. So certainly he's going to have to make some compromises, but hopefully they won't be as big as some people think you're going to have to make. That's all. It's all we can do. I'm here as an arbitrator, as a mediator to a certain extent between two parties that have been very hostile. To put it mildly, they've been very hostile. There's been a vicious war. There's been a vicious war. You know, it's a very level battlefield, and those bullets go out, and as I've said many times, we were talking about it with Pete, many times the only thing stopping those bullets is a human body. And in the case we're talking about, generally young human bodies are stopping a lot of bullets. It's dead level. That's why it's great farmland. It's great land. It's great farmland, but there's very little protection against the bullets that are being, and other things that are being shot. So all I can do is see if I can get everybody at the table and get an agreement. And I think we're going to end up with an agreement. Otherwise, I wouldn't probably be even here today.
Mr. President, I've got two questions for you. Do you think ultimately your legacy will be the peacemaker and not the president that led this country into another war and ended foreign wars? And I've got a question.
I hope it will. I mean, I hope I'm going to be remembered as a peacemaker. This would be a great thing if we could do this. I'm doing this to save lives more than anything else. Second is to save a lot of money, but I consider that to be far less important. So I hope I'm going to thank you, Brian, for that question. It was a nice question. I hope I'll be known and recognized as a peacemaker. This would be a great thing to solve. This is a very dangerous situation. You know, this could lead to a third world war. This was headed in the wrong direction. If this election were lost, if we didn't win this election, and by the way, we won it by a lot. That was a mandate. We won every swing state. We won the popular vote by millions and millions of votes. We won everything. The districts, you look at the areas of red, take a look at a map. This was a big mandate, and this was one of the things. I said, we're going to get this thing settled. If we didn't win, I think this could have very well ended up in a third world war, and that would not have been a good situation.
川普还是一样，又再重申的就是战争继续持续下去是不对的，是可怕的。那他呢，希望的是结束战争，而且是和平的双方协议，而不是我美国来支援你，一次把俄罗斯给打败。其实如果这样持续下去的话，川普所说的第三次世界大战，这并不是一个过于杞人忧天的担忧。事实上就是如果美国继续卷入进去，说我如果真的是要跟你乌克兰对抗俄罗斯到底，那对抗俄罗斯到底，多国都同时加入，这已经跟第三次世界大战坦白说没有什么不同了对吧？现在只是台面化的没有派士兵来共同加入这场战争，但是一旦如果是连士兵都出动的话，而不是只是单纯的金钱的话，那么大家都可以想见，就是那这就是所谓的第三次世界大战嘛。他们认为欧洲他们是用贷款的形式分期付款所以呢，你泽连斯基呢还要还债的，而且还要缴利息的，那为什么我美国能够无条件无偿的使用？这点来讲，我必须说是没有错这个是合理的。第一个就是这是你自己国家的战争，哪怕对你国家而言，这是一个保卫人民自由安全的，这也不代表美国老百姓他有义务要去牺牲他们自己的纳税人的钱去支持你。国与国之间，我觉得大家要有一个基本的一个理性客观能力就是说，就像你今天如果是你身处的国家，那你觉得别人的国家在遭受不公义的一个对待的时候，没有错，你是可以去用公义的眼光去看对方，但是你会同意你自己的国家倾尽一切所有去帮助对方吗？我们没有什么好去要求一个不是你的国家的人该去对别的国家的人怎么样来负责。我们也要要求自己，就是我们自己所处的一个情况当中，我们有没有具备的价值让别人来施以援手或提供帮助这样的机会，而不是去要求。所以这个也是现在川普跟泽连斯基有一个很大的分歧。泽连斯基想要美国对他们所谓追求的民主自由能够来认同，然后施以援手，可是在实际上的战争利益上面，其实看的是威胁度的问题，也就是说俄罗斯侵占的乌克兰，这对美国有没有产生巨大的威胁，我认为才是关键。但是在欧洲这边来讲，我们知道其实是有的因为这第一个会影响到的是欧洲这一边跟俄罗斯的一个接壤的问题在欧洲这方面来讲，他们实质上的威胁度其实是存在，但对美国来讲，因为天高皇帝远，中间隔的中国大陆老远了，其实是不存在的。
What was your second question?
My second question for President Zelensky. Why don't you wear a suit?
Why?
Why don't you wear a suit? You're the highest level in this country's office, and you refuse to wear a suit. Just want to see, do you own a suit?
Yeah, you have problems.
A lot of Americans have problems with you not
Really?
respecting
I don't
the
have
office.
such. I will wear a costume after this war will finish.
Okay.
Yes, maybe Well, maybe something like yours, yes. Maybe something better. I don't know. We will see. Maybe something cheaper than, yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
这边这个记者的问题，我就觉得很糟糕哈，因为这个很挑衅。第一个就是说，这两个国家元首都已经碰面了，这是一个非常重要的一个场合，你怎么跑去批评乌克兰总统说，你都不穿西装出席哈？我不知道这是哪一家电视台记的，但是我强烈认为这个部分其实是有刻意想要去引起两边在这次谈判过程当中不愉快的一种试探性的破坏。好，我认为是这样。
Thank you, President Trump. You said yesterday.
Are you going to send more arms to Ukraine in case there's no peace?
Yeah, we're going to have arms to Ukraine, yeah, sure. Hopefully I won't have to send very much because hopefully we're going to have it finished. We're looking forward to finishing this quickly. We're not looking forward to sending a lot of arms. We're looking forward to getting the war finished so we can do other things. But we very much appreciate the agreement because we needed what they had, and we're treating, our country is now treated fairly. Biden didn't do that. He didn't know what the hell he was doing. This should have never happened. This should have never started. But, sure, the answer is yes, but hopefully we won't have to send much because I'm looking forward to getting it done quickly, very quickly.
Does that still provide security guarantees, Mr. President?
I don't want to talk about security yet because I want to get the deal done. You fall into the same trap like everybody else. 1,000,000 times you say it over and over. I want to get the deal done. Security is so easy. That's about 2% of the problem. I'm not worried about security. I'm worried about getting the deal done. The security is the easy part. Security is very nice. Everybody stops shooting. And now will Europe put people there? I know France is going to. I know the UK is going to. I know other countries are going to, and they happen to be right next door. We haven't committed, but we could conceivably. We have security in a different form. We'll have workers there digging, taking the raw earth so that we can create a lot of great product in this country. So in that sense, you have something, but we haven't determined that yet. I will say, in speaking to France and in speaking to, and they were here, as you know, last week and just the other day, they have committed to a lot of security. I don't think you're going to need much security. I think once this deal gets done, it's over. Russia's not going to want to go back, and nobody's going to want to go back. When this deal ends, I really believe this deal is going to be over. Question? Yeah, please go ahead.
Thank you.
Go ahead, please.
Thank you so
much.
Mr.
President, thank you.
Thank you.
Macron and Keir Starmer at the White House this past week, both of whom praised your courage and conviction to lead the pathway towards peace.
Yes.
Part of that involved, though, re-engaging with Russia in diplomatic relations, something that previous leaders lacked the conviction to do so. What gave you the moral courage and conviction to step forward and lead that?
Well, I love this guy. Who are you with?
One American News, sir.
Well, that's why I like him. One American News does a great job. I like the question. I think it's a very good question. It's a pathway to peace. It's a pathway to getting something solved. And I feel that as the head of this country, I have an obligation to do that. Plus, we're very much involved. We got involved. It's too bad we got involved because there should have been no involvement because there should have been no war. And there shouldn't have been October 7th. That would have never happened. As you know, Iran was broke. They had no money to give to Hezbollah. They had no money to give to Hamas. They were stone cold broke. And then under Biden, they became rich as hell. They went from no money to $300 billion in a period of 4 years. And they gave a lot of that money away, and you see what happened. And that's a real mess also that we hope to be able to solve. But no, I appreciate your question very much. I feel I have an obligation to try and do something to stop the death.
If I can answer, yes, if I can answer,
Please,
sorry,
go ahead.
please.
And I do like your clothing, by the way.
Yeah, really?
Even though I think he's a great guy, by the way. But I don't know if you two like each other. But you know what? I think he's dressed. I think he's dressed
I like
beautifully.
this guy. I don't know
I think
him.
he's dressed beautifully.
So I have more. I have more serious things than answer on such
Yes,
questions.
that's a
I will
good-
answer on more serious
that's a good
questions if
statement.
I can.
这边我们可以看到，川普其实很聪明，他也意识到刚刚我讲，其实那个记者的发问是非常不恰当的，但他也不好去直接去羞辱记者嘛，或者去质疑记者，这个没有什么意义，对吧？所以他还不如反过来赞美这件事情，就说，我喜欢你的服装，我觉得其实你穿得很好，用一个轻松幽默的方式化解这个场面的一个小尴尬。那我们可以看得出来，其实川普呢，他保持一副相对比较好像老大哥这样比较镇定自若。那泽连斯基这边呢，他的肢体语言表达出的是一个非常谨慎小心，多数时间他都是皱着眉头在聆听，表示他对于这一个会面美国到底会不会照他的期待发展，他其实并没有那么充分的有信心的。那换句话说，他也会格外的去关注川普说出来的一切话，他必须要知道什么时候我能够给予一定程度的同意，什么时候我必须要有一些修正或者是补充，这个是泽连斯基在关心的事情，所以相对他是处于一个相对比较警戒的状态。好
Yeah, so please, about security guarantees and about just ceasefire. We can't just speak about ceasefire and speak. It will not work. Just ceasefire will not never work because I'm like a president. I have this experience and not only me. Ukraine before my presidency from the 2014, Putin broken 25 times. 25 times he broken his own signature. 25 times he broken ceasefire.
But he never broke to me. He never broke to me.
No, you were the president.
He
were the
broke-
president during.
He never broke to me.
In 2016, you've been the president, Mr. President. You've been the president, but he had, of course, not with you, but he had during those period, he had conversations with our side. And we had Normandy format, the France, Germany, Ukraine, and Russia. And he broken 25 times. That's why we will never accept just ceasefire. It will not work without security guarantees. Security guarantees, maybe President is right about this document and other, but this document is not enough. Strong army is enough. Because his soldiers afraid, Putin's soldiers afraid of our soldiers when we're strong enough. If we are not strong enough, if we are empty, if our storage is empty, we can't defend our land. Today, he knows that we have all the world knows that we have meeting. Yes? Why he's using ballistic? Putin today using ballistic on our hospitals, schools, and etc. Ballistic. So he knows that we are here and that President Trump is really have goodwill to stop this war. And you hear now the president. So why he's using? So he doesn't want to stop. He doesn't want. But I hope that we will do it. Really, we'll do it. Security, when we speak about security guarantees, when the Europeans are ready for contingents, they need USA backstop. If there will not be United States, we will not never have any contingents, strong contingents from the Europeans, because they don't want to divide alliance, connection between the United States as the main and strongest ally and Europeans. And this is crucial, this is important. That's what we want to speak about very much. This is very important. And air defense. So air defense, really, we have big deficit with all these systems, and we need to provide this. We need it very much. Otherwise, Putin will never stop, and will go further and further. He doesn't want. He hates us. It's not about me. He hates Ukrainians. He thinks that we are not a nation. He thinks, and he shared this thoughts. I think maybe with your team also. I don't know, but with all the Europeans, in media, officially and not, he always said that there is no such country, such nation, such language, and such life like Ukrainian. No, he really doesn't respect all the Ukrainians, and he wants to destroy us. And you are right, Mr. President. That's 2%. This document, maybe other documents, it's a very good start, very good, but it will not enough to stop this person.
Mr. President, may I one more question, please?
Yeah, go ahead.
I asked President
They have to
Zelensky
pay.
this question.
This is the rule. This is the rule of the war. This is the rule of the war. During all the centuries, all the history, this is the rule of the war. Who began, those pay. This is the rule. Putin began this war. He has to pay all money for innovation. He has to pay. Of course, some Russian assets, what we have in Europe, about 300 billion, we can use them. We can use for innovation and buy military support from the United States also. We can do it, but it's not enough. It's not enough.
好，这一次呢，泽连斯基已经忍不住心里已经非常不以为然，认为说川普不可能就是和平缔造者，因为他认为第一个，过去俄罗斯有多次这个违反了停火协议，他仍然重申，就是如果今天只有乌克兰军队足以强大到让俄罗斯军队害怕的话，那么这种带来的和平才有可能发生。而现在的这种所谓的你想要达到安全，有可能只不过是今天跟俄罗斯达成了一次协议，没过多久呢，他又反悔了，又继续来了。那么我这边已经允许你一直不断的去跟我开采稀土了。那可是你搞不好后面你只关心的就是开采稀土，所以泽连斯基的目的他也是要把用这个共同开发稀土的部分，他要把川普拉进到能够符合他想要的共同抵抗俄罗斯这样一个联盟的环境。所以换句话说，泽连斯基当然仍然要的是美国跟他联盟，来对抗俄罗斯。可是川普呢，就一直表明说这个是不太可能发生的。但是如果要帮助你达成停火，这个部分我是可以做到。
This question that you didn't like, because I wanted to know.
Go ahead, please. Wait 1 second.
I asked this question that you didn't like because I wanted to know if you want to position yourself in the middle between Russia and Ukraine, or on the Ukraine side.
No, I'm in the middle. I want to solve this thing. I'm for both. I want to get it solved, and it's wonderful to speak badly about somebody else, but. I want to get it solved. If we can solve it, great. If we can't solve it, they're going to have to fight it out, and who knows what's going to happen. But I want to see it get solved.
May I follow up? One more question about U.S. troops in Europe. After Russian invasion of Ukraine, your predecessor sent additional troops to Eastern Europe, including Poland, my country.
Yeah.
Are you committed to keeping these troops on the eastern flank of NATO in the future?
I'm very committed to Poland. I think Poland has really stepped up and done a great job for NATO. As you know, they paid more than they had to. They are one of the finest groups of people I've ever known. I'm very committed to Poland.
What about Baltics?
Poland's in a tough neighborhood, you know.
What about the Baltics?
The Baltics, they got a lot of. It's a tough neighborhood too. But we're committed. We're going to be very committed, and we're committed to NATO. But NATO has to step up, and the Europeans have to step up more than they have. And I want to see them equalize, because they are in for far less than we're in, and they should be at least equal. You understand that? Why is the United States, we have an ocean in between, why is the United States in for so much more money and other things as Europe? With that being said, and as you said, they've also been obviously very helpful. But we have put in far more than they have, and I think they should equalize.
Mr. President,
yeah, please, go ahead.
About the agreement again today, what changed between the first time that Secretary Bessent gave President Zelensky the agreement and today for the signing?
We made a deal. So
what was the deciding factor?
I'm a business person. We made a deal. That's what changed. I didn't think we were going to make a deal, and we ended up making the deal, so that changed.
Mr. President, what and how do you envision a trilateral summit with President Zelensky and Putin?
I don't know, but they don't like each other. I can tell you that. Okay, they do not like each other. This is not a love match, and it's unfortunate. That's why you're in this situation. The United States should not have allowed this to happen. Okay, the United States, run by a man that didn't know much. I'm going to be very nice. Run by an incompetent person, very incompetent person, should never have allowed this to happen. I've stopped wars. I've stopped many wars. My people will tell you, I stopped wars that nobody ever heard about. I stopped wars before they ever started. You can look at some of, I could give you a lot of nations that would tell you right now they were probably going to war. I could tell you right now there's a nation thinking about going to war on something that nobody in this room has ever even heard about. Two smaller nations, but big, still big. And I think I've stopped it. But this should have never happened.
Mr. President,
sorry, just a second. About any negotiations. First of all, I want really to tell you, and I think that everybody understands that Ukraine, more than Ukrainians, nobody wants to stop this war. But at the future, any negotiations, it's understandable that to sides of the war, not Russia and the United States, because this is not the war between Russia and the United States. This is a war of Russia against Ukraine and Ukrainian people. So these two sides will be at the, anyway will be at the negotiation table. Then of course United States, like the strongest partner of the Ukraine, and of course Europe. I think Europe is very important. I want to speak about it with the President. Yes, Europe is very important for us because we really defend Europe for today. All Europeans really recognize that we are defending the line and they have real life and our people are dying. That's why they helped us. And also it's about the NATO. Yes, between, like the President said, you have big, nice ocean. Yes, between us. But if we will not stay, Russia will go further to Baltics and to Poland, by the way. But first to the Baltics. It's understandable for them because they've been in the USSR. You know, they've been one of the republics of the USSR, and Putin wants to bring them back to his empire. It's a fact. And when he will go there, if we will not stay, you will fight. Your American soldiers. It doesn't matter. Do you have ocean or not? Your soldiers will fight.
美国其实在目前军事上面美国是有派兵援助这个波兰和波罗的海三小国。那在俄罗斯入侵乌克兰之后呢，波兰跟波罗的海三小国他们是北约NATO 东翼的一个重要的防御力量。而美国向波兰提供了大量的这个军事援助，包括了这个贷款的担保啦和军事装备，以增加其防御能力。另外呢，波罗的海三国也积极推动了北约在其领土上部署了永久驻军，以应对来自俄罗斯的威胁。所以其实泽伦斯基的意思就是重申说，如果你美国不愿意支持我的话，那么俄罗斯终究它还会继续的延伸下去，那它会侵入到这个波兰跟波罗的海三小国的威胁就越来越大。那终究你们美军在这些国家上面的驻军呢，终究也不得不跟俄罗斯一战高下嘛。所以他的意思就是说，其实现在支持我乌克兰，你支持或不支持都有可能永远无法避免跟俄罗斯的一个正面冲突。那这个说法我个人认为川普他的不这么以为然。我认为川普他的信心是，他不会跟普丁有需要到开战的情况。两个大国在博弈之间，某种程度上，你可以说这是一种大国与大国之间默契，就是说，因为我们两个都太大了，以至于我们是最不容易搞状况。这有点像黑帮电影，就是为什么黑社会老大常常是下面的小弟厮杀的很厉害，可是老大与老大之间永远呢都保持一种默契，我们彼此之间呢其实是不可能真的会打起来的。但是我认为这件事情的说法呢，其实也很聪明，因为它这个就是一种小国外交的策略嘛。它去表达出了一种就是没有它，很多地方呢都变得更不安全。那川普买不买账那是另外一个问题，但是我觉得泽伦斯基确实想要把川普拉进到与乌克兰的这一个军事上的同盟或者说合作呢，这个企图心是很明显。可是以某种程度来讲，他其实尝试不错，是值得一说，但是效果可能不见得大。但是他仍然要讲。
Mr. President, would you be willing to visit Ukraine, maybe Kyiv or Odessa, which is known to be a 30-year-old Black Sea?
It was my question.
I don't want to talk about Odessa now. Let's not talk about Odessa. I want to talk about making a deal, getting peace. We don't have to talk about Odessa, but a lot of cities have been destroyed. There are a lot of cities that are not recognizable. There's not a building standing.
No.
And a lot of things have to happen.
Mr. President, you have to come and to look. No. We have very good cities. Yes, a lot of things have been destroyed, but mostly cities alive and people work and children go to school. Sometimes it's very difficult. Sometimes closer to front line, children have to go to underground schools or online, but we live. Ukraine is fighting and Ukraine lives. This is very important. And maybe it's Putin is sharing this information that he destroyed us. No, he lost 700,000 people. 700,000 soldiers he lost everything. Yes.
So. Mr. President, when did you last speak?
One more.
Mr. President, thank you.
Please, go ahead.
When did you last speak with President Putin, and what did he say that?
A couple of days ago.
And what did he tell you that gave you the assurance that he wanted peace?
Well, that's what I do. My whole life is deals. I know pretty good, and I've known him for a long time. I've dealt with him for a long time. he had to suffer through the Russia hoax. You know, Russia was a hoax. It was all Biden. It was nothing to do with him. So he had to suffer through that, and he was able to do that. I think that he wants to make a deal, and he'd like to see it end. That's all I do. That's what I do. My whole life, that's what I do, is make deals. And I'm in the middle of a mess, because this is a real mess. It's a very dangerous one. If this doesn't get solved now, it's not going to get solved for a long time. So I hope we're going to get it solved. In the back, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Prime Minister Starmer claimed repeatedly that his government believes in free speech and was not engaged in censorship. But his country's government arrests people for memes and thought crimes, and even more worrisome is pressuring American companies to censor Americans on its behalf. How can he be a reliable, trustworthy partner when he says things that are demonstrably false on such an important topic?
Well, we actually spoke to him about that yesterday, and we thought they took it very, very much too far. JD was very strong on it. So was I. So was Marco. And we've been speaking to him about it. Marco, would you like to say something about that?
We have concerns, obviously, with the conduct of various, particularly as it impacts Americans. And there's real concern that American speech, which is online, could fall into the hands of the British or any country's jurisdiction. And so this is a point the Vice President made in Munich, and I think it's a very compelling one that unites us with Europe as much as anything else is these shared values, and one of them being free speech. And so if Americans are threatened by it, we're going to need to take action in that regard.
Mr. President.
It's actually a very important question.
We spoke about this in detail with the Prime Minister, the Foreign Secretary, and others at lunch yesterday. And I know that Secretary of Commerce Lutnick followed up in private meetings last night. This is really important. We believe Americans have the right to speak their mind, even if we in this room disagree with them. They have the right to speak their mind in the public square, which is often online these days. And we're going to defend that right as it pertains to American companies and American citizens vigorously if we have to. I do think that under the President's leadership, we're going to find common ground with our friends in the UK on this question, but it remains to be seen. The principle that will guide us is we believe in free speech in this country, and we'll fight for it for American citizens.
Mr. President, on the deal, is there any other oil and gas component to the deal? Is it all critical?
A little bit. We'll see.
On LNG?
But we're not really looking for that so much. We got a lot. We have more than anybody in the world, by far. So, no, we're not talking about it too much, but a little bit. I think it affects also, but for the most part, no.
And, sir, is there any agreement from Ukraine to purchase U.S. LNG as part of the deal, or is that on the table at all?
No, we don't need that.
Mr. President, I just wanted to ask you about, you just mentioned that you'd spoken to Vladimir Putin a couple of days ago. Just to be clear, that's a new call, not the one that you were
I've spoken to him on numerous occasions.
Okay. And how was the latest call? What did you discuss? How did it go?
Are you serious with that question?
I am. I'd love to know.
It went well. I think we're going to have a deal.
On the minerals deal, Mr. President, some of those minerals are in the east of Ukraine, not far from the front lines, and in areas that Russia.
A very good question. Thank you so much.
Would you direct President Putin to withdraw his forces from those areas if there's U.S. interest?
Well, we'll take a look at the time. We have a lot of area. It's a very big area we're talking about, so we'll take a look. I'll study that and I'll see.
And who would protect those minerals if they are U.S. interests? Would that be Ukrainian?
They'll be protected. The agreement will protect them. The agreement, yeah, we're signing an agreement.
What if Russia tries to invade or orders Russian aggression in those spots?
I just told you I don't think that's going to happen. And if that were going to happen, I wouldn't make a deal. If I thought that was going to happen, I wouldn't make a deal. You know, they ought to focus on CNN on survival, not asking me these ridiculous questions. Right. Focus on surviving, because CNN's got such low ratings. I don't think they're going to survive. Let's go. Yeah, please, go ahead.
Since I already mentioned Poland. Poland was under Russian control for decades after the Second World War. When I was a kid, I looked at the United States not only as a most powerful country, richest country in the world, the country that has great music, great movies, great muscle cars, but also as a force for good. And now I'm talking with my friends in Poland, and they are worried that you align yourself too much with Putin. What's your message for them?
Well, if I didn't align myself with both of them, you'd never have a deal. You want me to say really terrible things about Putin and then say, Hi, Vladimir, how are we doing on the deal? That doesn't work that way. I'm not aligned with Putin. I'm not aligned with anybody. I'm aligned with the United States of America and for the good of the world. I'm aligned with the world, and I want to get this thing over with. You see the hatred he's got for Putin. It's very tough for me to make a deal with that kind of hate. He's got tremendous hatred, and I understand that, but I can tell you the other side isn't exactly in love with, him either. So it's not a question of alignment. I'm aligned with the world. I want to get the thing set. I'm aligned with Europe. I want to see if we can get this thing done. You want me to be tough? I could be tougher than any human being you've ever seen. I'd be so tough. But you're never going to get a deal that way. So that's the way it goes. All right, one more question. Yeah, please.
I want to respond to this. So look, for 4 years in the United States of America, we had a president who stood up at press conferences and talked tough about Vladimir Putin, and then Putin invaded Ukraine and destroyed a significant chunk of the country. The path to peace and the path to prosperity is maybe engaging in diplomacy. We tried the pathway of Joe Biden of thumping our chest and pretending that the President of the United States' words mattered more than the President of the United States' actions. What makes America a good country is America engaging in diplomacy. That's what President Trump is doing.
这个记者的提问啊，就有一点像是我们过去讲的哈，刻意又把美国啊拉成一个所谓世界警察这样的角色啊。我其实并不认为说一个国家都应该要去一厢情愿的去仰赖别的国家的人道救援或人道关怀。好，而且美国在这个问题上面，这里面回答最好的就是副总统万斯帮川普的做了补充。副总统万斯表示，意思美国真正对于全世界参与的关怀呢，最好的方式就是美国是透过外交手段，而不是拍拍胸脯像Joe Biden变得挂保证，但是实际上行动上面根本也做不到能够达到的需要。所以这也是为什么过去Joe Biden其实已经援助给泽连斯基够多了，但是泽连斯基呢仍然嫌美国呢有许多过去讲好的金钱啊各方面啊，这个我觉得呢大家真的要拿掉一个迷思的观念，就是凭什么要美国人动用他自己的军事力量来执行所谓的公义？而且如果这样的话，那被执行的那一方的人民会觉得这何尝不是另外一种美国的帝国主义，对吧？所以呢，你仔细去看川普的行动哈，如果真的美国要执行所谓的美帝主义的话，那才是真的会大动干戈，动辄就用军事威胁的力量来恐吓了哈，而不是像川普这种商人士，只是在那边是用所谓的筹码交换的方式去谈条件，把国家带入到所谓的商业谈判上。在我来看，这个不是什么帝国主义，反而恰恰凸显了这很不帝国啊！好
Can I ask you?
Sure.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So he occupied our parts, big parts of Ukraine, part of East and Crimea. So he occupied it on 2014. So during a lot of years, so I'm not speaking about just Biden, but those time was Obama, then President Obama, then President Trump, then President Biden, now the President Trump, and God bless, now President Trump will stop him. But during 2014, nobody stopped him. He just occupied and took. He killed people. You know what the contact
2015.
2014
2014.
and 2014.
Well, 2014.
Yeah. So
I was
he killed,
not here.
Yeah, but,
That's exactly
but
right.
yes, but during 2014 till 2022, yeah, the situation the same. The people have been dying on the contact line. Nobody stopped him. You know that we had conversations with him, a lot of conversation, my bilateral conversation, and we signed with him, me, like a new president. In 2019, I signed with him the deal. I signed with him, Macron and Merkel, we signed ceasefire. Ceasefire, all of them told me that he will never go. We signed him with gas contract. Yes, but after that, he broke the ceasefire. He killed our people and he didn't exchange prisoners. We signed the exchange of prisoners, but he didn't do it. What kind of diplomacy, JD, you are speaking about? What do you mean?
I'm talking about the kind of diplomacy that's going to end the destruction of your country.
Yes, but if you are
Mr.
not
President,
strong...
Mr. President, with respect, I think it's disrespectful for you to come into the Oval Office and try to litigate this in front of the American media. Right now, you guys are going around and forcing conscripts to the front lines because you have manpower problems. You should be thanking the President for trying to bring an end to this conflict.
Have you ever been to Ukraine that you say what problems we have?
I have been to.
Come once.
I've actually watched and seen the stories, and I know what happens is you bring them on a propaganda tour, Mr. President. Do you disagree that you've had problems bringing people into your military?
We have problems.
And do you think that it's respectful to come to the Oval Office of the United States of America and attack the administration that is trying to prevent the destruction of your country?
A lot of questions. Let's start from the beginning.
Sure.
First of all, during the war, everybody has problems. Even you, but you have nice ocean and don't feel now, but you will feel it in the future. God bless.
You don't know that.
God bless.
You don't
God
know
bless.
That.
You will not have a war.
Don't tell us what we're going to feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because you're in no position to dictate that. Remember this. You're in no position to dictate what we're going to feel.
好，这边开始才是关键啊！我们刚刚前面说了那么多啊，其实不过只是要让大家看到泽连斯基跟川普美国政府这边的一个想法上的差别。但是真正到了泽连斯基开始，他对于副总统 J.D. Vance 提出的一个所谓你想要用外交来帮我解决问题的这个讲法表达不满呢，那这个部分我认为才是一切后面谈到最后破裂或者说弹簧了的导火索。为什么呢？泽连斯基呢重申强调，就是说俄罗斯不是一个言出必行的国家，所以泽连斯基一直想要定调在就是说所谓的和平协议，在他来看，这根本是没有承诺的安全啊。可是对美国政府这边呢角度是不一样的，因为川普跟万斯他们现在认为我们是代表是美国政府在帮你做谈判，所以我们来跟俄罗斯谈，俄罗斯他可以对你一个小国耍赖，耍无赖，可是对于美国这种大国，他是不敢轻言耍赖。这里开始其实就是泽连斯基，我认为他陷入到了他自己的一个格局问题了。因为我们可以看到说，泽连斯基他后面的发言其实已经开始引起了副总统 J.D. Vance 跟川普的不满了。他表示就是说，你们现在不帮我，你们以后呢也要尝到被俄罗斯违约背信的这个代价。可是这个不是这个乌克兰的总理该去臆测的事情，因为美国跟乌克兰在各方面来讲，根本是一个不能比拟的一个不对等的差别。美国这样的一个大国，他不需要你来对他指手画脚，告诉他你该注意什么，你该小心什么。而且现在真的需要仰赖美国的人是谁？是你乌克兰啊。那你乌克兰要仰赖我美国的时候，你现在告诉我说，我如果不照着你的意思去做，以后吃亏的反而是我美国，受骗的是我美国自己。这个其实是相当程度的对于美国总统高度的一个不尊重。所以为什么万斯才告诉他说，你现在说的这些话已经失去掉你一个小国该有的一个表现了。我们在这一刻可以上到最好的一个学习，就是说我们在做弱国外交的时候，一定要记得一件事情，那千万不要保出一个高姿态，就是说我既要求你，但是我也希望你照我的方式来满足我。如果是这样的话，那别人他没有说破的心里想就是根本没有任何一个资格来跟我做要求。那我现在如果能够来帮助你，那都是还是因为你有一些其他的条件，我可以来使用，我才会愿意来参与。不然的话，美国大可以根本连提都不提，管都不管。所以呢，整个气氛其实已经开始变掉了。那我只能够用一个比较赞赏的角度来说，就是以一个小国乌克兰而言呢，他们的总统确实相当的有骨气了。
年轻人终究还是年轻人太冲动了。
We're going to feel very good. We're going to feel very good and very strong.
You will feel influence.
You're right now not in a very good position. You've allowed yourself to be in a very bad position, and he happens to be right about it.
From the very beginning of the war,
you're not in a good position. You don't have the cards right now. With us, you start having cards. But right now, you don't. You're playing cards. You're playing cards. You're gambling with the lives of millions of people. You're gambling with World War III. You're gambling with World War III. And what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country. It's back to you. Far more than a lot of people said they should have.
Have you said thank you once? A
lot of times.
No, in this
even
entire
today,
meeting, you said thank
even
you.
Today.
You went to Pennsylvania and campaigned for the opposition in October. Offer some words of appreciation for the United States of America and the president who's trying to save your country.
Please, you think that if you will speak very loudly about the war,
He's not speaking loudly. He's not speaking loudly. Your country is in big trouble.
Can I
Wait a
answer?
minute. No,
Can
you've
I
done a lot
answer?
of talking. Your country is in big trouble.
I know.
You're not winning.
I know.
You're not winning this. You have a damn good chance of coming out okay because of us.
Mr. President, we are staying in our country, staying strong from the very beginning of the war. We've been alone, and we are thankful. I said thanks
You haven't
in
been
this
alone.
cabinet,
You
and
haven't
not
been
only
alone.
in this cabinet.
We gave you, through
I
this
said
stupid president, $350 billion.
You voted
we gave
for
you
your
military
president.
equipment,
You
and you
voted
men
for
are
your
brave,
president.
but they had to use our military.
What about
if you didn't have our military equipment,
You invited
if
me
you
to
didn't
speak.
have our military equipment, this war would have been over in 2 weeks.
In 3
okay?
days, I heard it from Putin. In 3 days, this is something
Maybe
new.
less.
In 2 weeks, of course, yes.
It's going to be a very hard thing to do business like this, I tell you.
Just say thank you.
I said a lot of times thank you to American people.
Accept that there are disagreements, and let's go litigate those disagreements rather than trying to fight it out in the American media when you're wrong. We know that you're wrong.
But you see, I think it's good for the American people to see what's going on over here. I think it's very important. That's why I kept this going so long. You have to be thankful. You don't have the cards.
Thankful.
You're buried there. Your people are dying.
tell you
You're
again,
running low
I
on
know.
soldiers. Listen,
Please,
you're running
Mr.
low
President.
on soldiers. It would be a damn good thing.
Mr.
And then you tell us, I don't want a ceasefire. I don't want a ceasefire. I want to go and I want this. Look. If you could get a ceasefire right now, I tell you, you take it so the bullets stop flying and your men stop getting killed.
Of course, we want to stop the war.
But you're saying you don't want a ceasefire.
But I said to you,
I want a ceasefire.
with guarantees.
Because you'll get a ceasefire faster than an agreement.
Ask our people about ceasefire, what they think.
That wasn't
it doesn't
with
matter
me.
for you what
that wasn't
what
with me.
It
That was with
wasn't
a guy named Biden, who was not a smart person.
But this
that was
is your,
with,
this
that was
is
with
your
Obama.
president. It was your president.
Excuse me. That was with Obama, who gave you sheets, and I gave you javelins.
Yes.
I gave you the javelins to take out all those tanks. Obama gave you sheets. In fact, the statement is Obama gave sheets and Trump gave javelins. You got to be more thankful, because let me tell you, you don't have the cards. With us, you have the cards. But without us, you don't have any cards.
One more question to Mr. Vice President. I'm sorry.
It's going to be a tough deal to make, because the attitudes have to change.
What if Russia breaks ceasefire? What if Russia breaks peace talks? What do you do then? I understand that it's a heated conversation right now.
What are you saying?
She's asking, what if Russia breaks the ceasefire?
What if anything? What if a bomb drops on your head right now? Okay? What if they broke it? I don't know. They broke it with Biden because Biden, they didn't respect him. They didn't respect Obama. They respect me. Let me tell you, Putin went through a hell of a lot with me. He went through a phony witch hunt where they used him and Russia. Russia. You ever hear of that deal? That was a phony Hunter Biden, Joe Biden scam. Hillary Clinton, Shifty Adam Schiff. It was a Democrat scam. And he had to go through that. And he did go through it. We didn't end up in a war. And he went through it. He was accused of all that stuff. He had nothing to do with it. It came out of Hunter Biden's bathroom. It came out of Hunter Biden's bedroom. It was disgusting. And then they said, oh, the laptop from hell was made by Russia. The 51 agents. The whole thing was a scam. And he had to put up with that. He was being accused of all that stuff. All I can say is this. He might have broken deals with Obama and Bush, and he might have broken them with Biden. He did, maybe. Maybe he didn't. I don't know what happened. But he didn't break them with me. He wants to make a deal. I don't know if you can make a deal. The problem is I've empowered you to be a tough guy. And I don't think you'd be a tough guy without the United States. And your people are very brave. But you're either going to make a deal or we're out. And if we're out, you'll fight it out. I don't think it's going to be pretty, but you'll fight it out. But you don't have the cards. But once we sign that deal, you're in a much better position. But you're not acting at all thankful. And that's not a nice thing. I'll be honest, that's not a nice thing. All right, I think we've seen enough. What do you think? Huh? This is going to be great television. I will say that. All right, we'll see what we can do about putting it together. Thank you.
好，最后两边呢，我想给大家几个重点的整理。好，其实第一个，泽连斯基他目前的底气主要是在于过去欧洲整个多国对他的援助。好，因为在地理位置上面，乌克兰这个国家其实是北约这边是否能够有效牵制俄罗斯的势力，好，或者说未来可能在军事威胁上面来讲一个重要的地理位置。甚至我们都知道说，要不是这一次泽连斯基想要贸然的加入北约组织，其实也不会引起这一次的俄乌大战。当然，你可以说这是乌克兰他自己国家的自由，没有错。可是一个小国，你的自由程度仍然是要受到国际的实质上的角力关系所牵制。你如果贸然的参加北约，而引起了俄罗斯普丁的高度敏感跟紧张的话呢，那你自然也要承受人家也来自由打你的后果啊。世界本来就是残酷，国与国之间的战争就是如此。那这个是泽连斯基过去用的是国际战争的一个普世价值，说啊，我是先被打的，所以呢，我呢最应该得到别人的同情以及援助。这一点其实严格来讲，大家就会看明白其实在国际政治上这一点所谓的同情心是很廉价的，我们不应该去奢求别人对我们有这样的同情。欧洲对乌克兰的帮助只是在于它的军事位置以及欧洲自身恐惧于俄罗斯的威胁。可是对美国而言呢，终究这不是美国人的战争，所以今天川普只不过是要拿回美国人自己的一个自主权。到底乌克兰对待美国的态度是不是一个予取予求的态度？你若今天真的要求别人的话，你没有一个感恩之心，那你要求别人永远无条件的去对你好，这个是很困难的一件事情。这也是今天泽连斯基他后面会引起川普跟副总统 JD Vance 的不满，其实最主要还是在于他的态度问题。你的态度问题呢，凸显出了就是你似乎很强硬的硬要把美国拉入到这一个所谓的同盟的战争圈当中。他作为一个国家领导人来讲，他的心态上面是有一点冒险的。这个事情是我们回归到一个最实质客观的因素，就是第一个，川普他并没有所谓的稀土交换的急迫性。过去美国并不仰赖从乌克兰这边提供稀土，自然未来也没有这个时间的急迫性。但这确实会某种程度上影响了美国他对于中国大陆的贸易制裁方面的一个前进的加速度。但是对美国而言来讲，他可以跟乌克兰耗，他可以在没有这个稀土协议之前呢，继续保持一个中立的态度。那乌克兰终究也会面临到一个情况，就是他不得不跟美国呢仍然对于这个稀土的开发，以换取所谓资金上的援助简单讲，就是乌克兰现在已经没有美国这边免费的午餐可以吃了，所以再怎么样，乌克兰他未来想要能够拿到钱呢，他势必还是终究要把稀土给开发掉。所以其实川普的底气可以说比乌克兰来得更足。那乌克兰其实大可以就干脆只是单方面的跟美国采取共同开发稀土以换取资金，但是至于协议不协议呢，就看乌克兰自己要不要嘛。美国这边其实是有点像是另外在做一个免费的一个赠送的活动就是说，你允许我帮你开发稀土呢，那我顺便来帮你谈着停火协议，但这个乌克兰也可以不领情嘛。所以从乌克兰自身的角度来讲呢，泽连斯基要拒绝，我也不认为他的拒绝就是一个错。但是就以这次一个谈判的技巧上面来讲呢，泽连斯基似乎忘记了自己是一个小国的身份。这也有可能我在猜也有可能是过去他跟拜登呢这种模式对话习惯了。那民主党这边呢总是可以被这个予取予求，所以现在碰到川普他一时这个习惯改不过来。
你给我一点时间，我吐的就会习惯了。
变得又用他过去的习惯的角度去跟美国政府这边来谈条件，但是对美国政府来讲，其实你是没有什么条件好谈的无非就是你还有那一点稀土。这是泽连斯基万万没有想到，就是美国并没有认为他理所当然的要来帮他所谓的追讨这个民主与自由。我觉得这个其实才是世界的真相，也是我们所有的小国乃至于台湾，我们都应该要看清楚的一件事情。我们要建立的是别人认为的重要性而不可取代性。就好像说台湾这个地理位置上面的话，它对于美国来讲会有第一岛链的这个实质上面的一个海峡，一个太平洋西岸的威胁。这个跟乌克兰的军事地位对于美国而言是相差非常非常大的。 但是呢，我们应该寻求共识，不应该是用下指导棋的方式来教美国人民该去担忧什么，因为他们没有需要担心俄罗斯会弄他们或搞他们的问题嘛，其实就是这么简单啊。那我认为这个事情呢，它并不就黄掉，因为目前两边争执的点仍然在于只是情绪化的东西，就是说你有没有对我有感恩啊？那你呢？凭什么来对我们指手画脚呢？那人1就这边就认为说，你怎么就这么的不肯帮我追求民主自由的价值呢？对不对？那欧洲都愿意了，那你为什么美国这边你也是高举着民主自由的，你就不肯做呢？其实，除非泽连斯基可以想办法不透过美国的协助，用稀土这个资源跟其他国家来交换利益，交换更多的金援，不然的话，我认为他终归还是要选择美国这一个商业合作伙伴来提供他金援。所以我倒认为这些事情还未必一定是黄掉，泽连斯基也要去思考，就是接下来的压力会比较大，欧洲是否还会持续的表态以及跟进，这个会是一个很大的关键。因为我不太认为说失去掉美国，其他的欧洲各国会有这么大的一个积极性。简单来讲，这也是对于北约组织的一个很大的讽刺，那就是如果没有美国的参与的话，你北约愿不愿意肯为了乌克兰来跟俄罗斯抗争到底？这个就是考验欧洲人民自己的意识，所以这也是为什么川普才讲的说，你欧洲人自己先站起来嘛。OK， 我想今天这个分享呢，虽然比较冗长，但是呢，希望能够让大家一次呢就看清楚乌克兰与美国目前双方真实的想法，以及我们要学习的是在这当中如何的去增加我们自己的筹码与胜算，但是我们如何的能够用一个合适的态度去让别人愿意来跟我们合作，我认为这个才是可以在我们当中得到的启发跟收获。 OK， 我们这边是超级神队友，我们就下部影片再见，拜拜。
Christ alone, our hope now forever.